Hi everyone, welcome to Best Recipes with Sharon. This recipe that I'm bringing to you today is chocolate cream layered pie. This is a rich, decadent dessert, and it's made from the flaky pie crust recipe that I have on a separate video. And this has layers of chocolate pudding with cream cheese and whipped cream, and then it's topped off with Crust crispy crunch chocolate bars. Right, so let's get to making this. Preheat your oven to 425 degrees. Roll out your dough to fit a 9-inch pie shell. And this flaky pie crust recipe really owes up to its name well. And because it is so flaky, I tend to use it as my go-to recipe. Every time I do a pie, I stick with this recipe because it's never failing. Then take a fork and pick holes in the bottom and sides. This helps also to keep it from shrinking. And then get ready to bake it in a 425 degree oven, and it's in that oven usually for about 10 to 15 minutes, so keep an eye on it. When it's lightly browned, it's done. But I do put it in the oven, and then I put pie weights in it so that it won't shrink back at the edges on you. Now what I did is I kept it in the oven for about 10 minutes, and then I pulled the pie weights out and kept it in the oven for another 2 to 5 minutes just to finish browning it up without the weights. And now on to making the chocolate filling. Start by putting 2 cups of milk into a medium-sized saucepan. Add 1 cup of sugar. Then add between 1/4 and 1/3 of a cup of cocoa, depending on how rich you like your chocolate. Now whisk that in so that it's well combined and start to heat it up over medium heat. Meanwhile, in a separate measuring cup, take about 2½ rounded tablespoons of cornstarch and place it in the cup and add a little bit of water, just enough to dissolve that cornstarch and make it like a liquid. And you'll use that to thicken your mixture later once it's heated. Next you'll need 2 egg yolks. And continue whisking while it's heating up, but while it starts to heat a little bit, I take a little bit out and add it to the egg yolks just to get them used to the temperature so that they don't clump when they go back into the chocolate mixture. And of course, making sure that you whisk it often, and once it starts to steam, slowly add the cornstarch mixture. Only add it until it starts to thicken nicely, and once it starts to thicken, remove it from the heat right away and continue whisking. Then add a lump of butter. It's about a tablespoon. And then add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And stir that until it's really well combined, and you'll notice that it's getting silky smooth here, looking really good. Take your chocolate cream mixture and pour it into a bowl, cover it lightly with some saran wrap, and put it into the fridge until it's completely cold and set. And now for the other layer. Add 1 cup of whipping cream to a mixing bowl. Then whip that cream until it's stiff peaks. Then add 1 cup of icing sugar and 1 package of cream cheese. Now I mix it a half at a time, so I do the half a cup of icing sugar and half of the brick of cheese and mix it together really well, and then add the other half and mix it again. That way it helps to have it mix a little more thoroughly and less lumps. And then I take that and make sure it's chilled well in the fridge as well before I start to layer it into the pie shell. And start your layering by putting the chocolate mixture in first. Using your spoon, make sure it's spread out evenly in the bottom of the pie shell. Then add a layer of your cream cheese mixture on top of that. That's a little tricky because the cream cheese mixture can be a little thick, so you'll have to be patient with that and use a knife if you need to. And then layer it again with the chocolate mixture, and if you have a little bit of cream cheese left, layer the top with that as well. just to do a decorative touch for the top, I take 1 cup of whipping cream and I whip that with the electric mixer until it has stiff peaks again, and I sweeten it with a little bit of icing sugar again. I only use about a half a cup of icing sugar in this. And take out 2 crispy crunched chocolate bars and crush them with your knife. I usually leave them in fairly coarse chunks. Then just take your whipping cream and decorate the top to give it a finishing touch. Then take your crispy crunch chocolate bar that's been chopped up into chunks and load it on the top like this. And loaded I do. I love lots of this on the top, it just helps to complement it really well. And of course, if for some reason you don't like peanut butter or there's an allergy or something, just use plain chocolate bars and crush them up and put them on top. That's okay too. So does this look like something you'd like to have a piece of? You can do that. Go ahead. Here's the recipe so you can make this too. I'm just cutting this in about 8 pieces, and I'm going to show you what the layers look like inside. So there it is. So this won't last very long because it's so good, but because it's a cream pie, it's best ate up in a day or two. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy eating.